vision, position, a different position, and transition. Positive power, prosperous peace to your beautiful, beautiful minds out there. Um, okay, I need to, because I had a very, very long last few days. Very long. And as much as I am learning a lot from my last video and immediately adapting all the lessons to the outcomes so that I can present it this way this time around, um, as much I'm also still me, and I'm already feeling the need of I have a whole lot to say basically that has nothing to do with the topic. I think that that is where it is boiling down to. So I'm deciding to do this topic first, as above, so below explained. Why? Because we have seen in the last video that I completely miscalculated the space that I needed for the full thing, because of having no space. The force that I was trying to output got completely debilitated, and everybody could have seen it. It wasn't literally, it didn't have the space to be. So I literally cut it short and decided to do it this way, which I've seen on the next page. But in the meantime, from point A to point B, so much went down that this has created a whole stream of consciousness on its own, which also needs to be expressed, basically. But it has me sitting here with two different stream of consciousness doing one video. So I have decided to do this what I'm doing now this way right now, but I am going to do a other video in which that video is basically just for me. Um, because I'm not like having fun yet doing this YouTube thing, because the way that I am doing it right now is not for me anymore. This already changed immediately into a whole lot of adaptations for the ones who are going to be watching this. This is what it means to be putting in that work, looking for the right angle, the right perspective, the right degree. Like with every take, excuse me, with every take, all these findings need to be put into that result that you are looking for in your mind, and you are using whatever you have in your, in your direct environment to your disposal to bring that about. So I don't know if you understand what I mean, but this is the reason why I needed that one video just for me. This you can see it again. Well, everything that I said have nothing to do with the topic. So what I'm going to do now is just jump in the topic and get the topic done, because that is also what I was trying to do. Um, I believe truly that if I just stick to the topic, the time frame is also going to go down drastically. So we are just going to hit the points, stick on time, and for me to see what the result is going to be of that. I have no clue yet how it's going to look like. We will see at the end of the transition. Now, to immediately move on to warming up the minds. Why? Because we need to be aware that we are living in a construct that is not supportive of brilliancy. To whom? To the bored mind, the entertained mind, and the brilliant mind. Now, who were these three in this little setup that I have set it up over here? You got your entertained mind, who is entertained by the outside world. You got your interested mind, who is interested in the inside world, and you got the brilliant mind, who is the messenger. Now, messenger of what? Really? As above, so below. These are directions. When we are talking about something being good or something being a certain direction and it being reflected as good, we are saying that it is the right way, or if it is not, we are saying that it is not right. It has to be right for it to be good, and that is a direction. Right, to the right, to move to the right, that is a direction. To move above, below, as within, as without, these are directions. And why is it important for us to know good directions? That is where the messenger comes in, right? Jesus. Okay. So now we're going to now we're going to put a little bit more context to the broad and the not the interested, the broad and the bored-minded individual, so that we have we need to refresh, warm up our minds again about who we are talking to. Because over here I have described them as the entertained and the interested mind. Now, in the last video, I've explained that the bored mind is in search for entertainment, and that entertainment is to be found outside of oneself. Now, this is also your individual who most of the time knows a lot about, or knows about terms like selling your soul or being a sellout and etc. While only believing in such concepts like that is the fact of selling out, being a fraud to one's inside because you do not attempt to go inside. That is not in your interest. While the person who does have this interest is the person that inside of itself gets lost. Because as we can clearly see, if we have a third dimensional or a physical body and a mental body and a spiritual body, then that is, we are talking here about locations that are actually really there, just as how we are perceiving this one. So at one point, I'm going to ask you, where is your mind? And if you realize now that you might not know up until now, because the video is not finished yet, after this video you will know. But if now you are getting the tendency that if I ask you where is your mind, and you think that you might not know where this actually is inside of you, then that is the definition of having lost your mind, if you do not know where your mind is. And that is scary. That is freaky. That is worse than having sold out, if you ask me. But we will work towards that point. Now, whenever we have confirmed who are our audiences, who are the ones that we have building this construct that is not supportive of brilliancy, you have the ones that sold out, you have the ones that are lost in sight, and you have the ones that brings the message, raise the awareness. Now, where is it that we get lost inside of us? Now here it becomes important that we explain the mirror. Okay, so the messenger is the one that has the message, that brings the message to the interested one and the entertained ones. So the messenger is the one that carries the message for the entertained one and for the interested one. Yeah. The definition of being a sellout, of to have sold out, the one who is entertained by the outside world finds its satisfaction outside of itself. And that is the fact of having sold out in opposition to yourself. And the one who is interested has its interest inside of it, but is lost within itself, which is practically even worse. So, whenever we are talking about explaining the mirror, why is it important for us to understand the concept of the mirror? Because when you stand in front of your mirror and you raise your right hand, your mirror reflection will just raise the right hand on your right side. While in this real 3D existence, when somebody is standing in front of you and y'all raise your right hands, that person will raise the opposite side of itself, its right hand. Your mirror reflection will show you the same side. Out here in 3D, the opposite side. So why do we need a mirror to explain? Because whenever you pull up a written piece, something that is written, throughout the writing, you can notice that it is inverted. And this is important for us to keep in mind because your reality looks the exact same, but it is inverted. And if you are not aware of that, you can even miss the fact that that reality is inverted. A whole lot of videos that are being watched, they're being shot from the front. People do not realize that that is actually a inverted video because there is no written piece, no written text nowhere in the video to be seen. So you will actually never notice. The reality just looks the exact same. So whenever we are talking about having mirror perception, we need to understand that whenever we are going inside, it's inverted from this outside. The inside and the outside are inverted from one another, plus in each other's opposite direction. So whenever we are talking about as within, so shall it be without, that is the opposite of each other. And when we are talking about as above, so below, that is where it gets inverted. And then we also still need to stand up. So this is what it is going to this is why the mirror part is important, because as above so below is going to address the part of the opposition, the opposite of this part, of these directions. And the as within as without, that is the mirror reflection of this opposition. And this video in particular is first the as above so below. So the opposition is going to be explained, but for us to be able to understand the opposition of what, at least we need to mention as within, so shall it be without. And in is for us to go up inside ourselves, and to come back out is to go down. And then we also stand up, we lift up our horizon into a parallel state. So it is important for us to understand the mirror part that inverts the reality, and the as above so below that brings a opposition to this mirror reflection. Real directions are going to be given out here. But this part, the as within, excuse me, this part that a being has to realize the as within, as without, and the as above and so below concept. This is where people get lost, and at this point of lostness, that is the illusion called life. That is where people lose themselves. People do not understand how to look at this reality in opposition of themselves plus down from themselves. As inside of themselves is up. Now we are going to make sense out of this. But this is what the message is, what the message of this video is carrying. The sense of directions. And if you are able to get your sense of direction back, you are able to find your own true north. That is what the intention of this video is. Now let's get it in for real. Now the real spiritual game is going to begin. So let's see how this looks like before we go into kick game. I think that I can just put this one over here. We're going to see how it looks like because everything has to be right in frame so that we can start explaining or make the listener realize that you are the fifth dimensional sphere ritual miracle. This is a miracle unto its own who stepped up right. Yeah, the fifth dimensional up until here. This is the body that we got. This is where you are. You are here. Yeah, the fifth dimensional spheres in ritual who have reached the level of being able to be aware of the miracle that they stood up, and that takes for you to be aware of your inside. Here is where your animals are. They are aware of their minds, of their thoughts. We are aware of the space inside of us. We are literally able to be making sense out of the space inside of us. But we do need to have the right directions. Now, first I want to see how this look. I'm almost already going on a roll. But first we're going to check how this looks like, if it is all in the right frame. And then we're going to get it in. Let's get it in now. Let's get it in.